Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. To be at least a normal person and not try to be, as Friedrich Nietzsche said, ein Übermensch, you have to know who you are, and not only that. You have to know how others are, and you have to had at least some experience, real experience with life. Therefore, you will understand kind of like what is possible and what is impossible. And you can assess your position as an individual in a society, in your herd. In this case, you have to objectively assess your character, your abilities and inabilities, figure out your limits, with a certain kind of error, margin of error, of course, because we all try to think that we are better than what actually we are, and it would be the other side, we are worse than actually we are, and that's a bad assessment. And then you have to have a lot of experience with other people, and you have to assess their abilities, and therefore you're going to place yourself approximately where you are in a society and act upon it. You're not perfect, you will never be perfect, and you were not perfect. So you have to accept that, and you accept whatever level you have and go with it. And you will realize that we all have faults, we all have limitations, and there's no reason to feel any inferiority complex in life, because there's always someone better than you, and it's always someone worse than you in abilities, character, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so in this case we have Germany, the proud nation of Germany. Germany had a mishap in the 40s and late 30s and 40s, 1930s and 1940s, where they did what they did. We don't have to go deeper into that. Now that did not stain the whole identity of German people. I think if you do that, then you and I could also do the same thing with our characters, because I'm pretty sure we did some little nasty stuff in our lives that if we choose to focus on that, only on that, and try to overemphasize it and analyze ourselves only at our worst, then we will all hide and we'll all have guilt. Now guilt sometimes is good, but if guilt is used by others to extort you, then that's bad, obviously. In this case, we have Germany, and we have a guy from Ukraine. His name is Zelensky. Now, that would be double guilt, because not only that this person called Zelensky is going to put the finger on the worst time of Germany, but he's going to put it as a triple victim of that situation, or how do you want to call you, a bad deed. All right, so then based on that, he expects that the Germans, and they are doing that unfortunately, feel double, triple, quadruple guilty about it, and they will be just take their pants down and bend over and take it from this guy with no reason. Why? For the reasons I explained before. Because like this, that means you will continue to be the slave of someone who didn't do anything, or you didn't do anything to this guy. Okay, we don't talk about here collective punishment, we talk about direct. We're still Romans, we use Roman law, we don't use the Old Testament collective punishment law. Okay, so by that the definition, I'm responsible only of the deeds I do. Not my dad's, my son's, my wife's. No. If I'm not implicated in those things, a collaborator, then I'm not. Now you look at the Germans nowadays, they feel the guilt of something they didn't do. And the guys who, again, are not the victims, they use that to blame these guys of something that was not done to them. But they function by different sets of laws. So this article comes from Ukrinform, and it says that Zelensky calls on Germany to provide Ukraine with Patriot air defense systems. And that's the way this guy did for the past 9 months, not only to Germany, but any other Western country, Christian country, I would say, using the same technique of guilt building, which is, we don't want to be called bad people, do we? Sometimes we say, okay, fuck it, yeah, you call me bad person, I'm going to tell you what a bad person really is. And you act, at the level of the label they put on you. So, but we don't want to be called bad people. That's, because we don't think of ourselves as being bad people. Even bad people think that they are not bad people. They do this and they will bring a justification why they are not, an excuse. I'm not a bad person because I do this. For instance, if I break into a Gucci store, like a vandal, and I would say, well, because previous discrimination, I have anger and you owe me, so that entitles me to go and break into the Gucci store and steal the patriarchal, capitalistic, oppressive, whatever you want to call, So, yeah, I'm pretty sure they got their justification. They have the right to do that based on whatever they want to, Anyway, so in this case, Zelensky does this all the time. He calls, when he wants weapons, when he wants money, when he wants support from the Christian countries, they go, why? Christianity works on guilt, personal guilt. We're all sinners. So from the very beginning, we're all bad. And we have to wash the sin that we have. All right, so I don't want to be a bad person, but I know I am. I'm good and bad is the proportion. So they go and say, they focus this guy. No, you're bad. If you do not give me what I want, okay, I call you bad person. And I make you responsible somehow of the suffering of other people, that I might be responsible for that too, but we don't talk about that right now. Because why? If I call Germany, Zelensky calls Germany, he always have like 2 or 3 aces right here. And the aces are based on the 1930s and 1940s, okay? So the Germans know that, unfortunately, instead of going back to what I been saying at the beginning of this video and say, wait a minute, I don't owe you shit. Let's start with that one. And you don't owe me anything as well, all right? I'm not guilty of anything. And this guy says, hey, if you don't give me that, all the blood that's over there is on you. It's because of you. That's basically what's been saying by Kuleba, who's another guy, by Zelensky, and by Reznikov. If you don't give me what I want, you are a bad person. And those guys, instead of saying, you know what, beat it, they fall for it. I don't think they don't know this. I think it's still the mass media who's gonna put them to the wall if they don't do what this guy says. So let's say you have Scholz and say, you know what, beat it, Zelensky. What do you think the mass media is gonna say? Germany at it again with the Jews. And he's done. Who's he done? Scholz. Scholz doesn't help poor Ukrainians. He's xenophobe. Done, Scholz. So you see, and the media, you wonder, hey, is that German media or is it just some other kind of media? Well, is that some kind of media operating in Germany? And they're going to portray this as bad. His career is over. He's going to be labeled like this, like this, like this. And you try to face the media, you're done, basically. So, you see, this is the method of shaming and, making you guilty of something that you have nothing to do with. Nothing. And they bend over. Why? Because they have the microphone and they have the megaphone over there to expose you as this and this and this. I mean, it's like you go to a woman that you would like to date, and you go and you say, hey, Jane, how are you doing? And you try to use your magic, and your magic falls flat. And then when she rejects you, you say, hey, you know what, you're hateful because I am Romanian, and that proves that you're a xenophobe right here. What does one have to do with other? Or let's say I'm something else, and I say, well, because I'm let's say I'm 4.5, 4 feet 5 inches, and I'm short, you don't like me? Oh, you don't like little people? Oh, so you are this, you are this, you are that? And she's gonna be, oh my God, then let's go and be friends because I'm a good person and I do not discriminate against you. Well, you surely show it. See, and you find this kind of cuckoo heads nowadays walking among us, who would fall for anything if you tell them that they're bad people. Why? Because they're narcissistic personalities, where they think, oh, everybody must like me because I'm fantastic. So if you tell them, no, you're like shit, they will just do backflips all the time just to please you, like it matters. As I said at the beginning of this video, if you know who you are, if you know who the other persons are, you've been around the block a few times, you can assess your value and understand. That's called maturity. You understand that nobody's perfect, you're not perfect, and go from there. That trick should not work, but it does. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.